Hey guys, so this is not the most professional looking video, but I mean, none of mine are. So, I wanted to explain why I left Walmart. Sorry, I'm cutting my face out. And this is not a jab at Walmart. I absolutely loved working there the first time. This is mostly because of the one that I was working at. Their employees and managers are honestly horrible. I've had some really, really bad jobs, sorry, in the past couple years. But this one, I still can't get over how awful I was treated. So, let me start from the beginning. The first time I worked at Walmart, I was fired because I lived in California. I live in California, I haven't moved out state, but where I was living, we were going through a El Nino, and that is where it rains and rains and it floods everything because we were in a drought. So I drive a Prius, and it's not the most water safe car, and the roads were literally flooded 4 feet, and I couldn't drive. I couldn't get to Walmart. I was driving an hour and a half to 2 hours to get a job every night, and I worked overnight, so it was not safe. I was going in the dark. And so that happened the first time, and I was upset because I really loved working there. And then so me and my fiance decided to move back to where I was living before, and that's a whole nother issue. I'll film another video about that. But so he got a job at Walmart fairly easy, like, because they have so many people quitting and getting fired. So he was like, yeah, I'll go work. And so he got a job there, and he was on maintenance for a while. And then I went in and I explained my situation. They're like, yeah, we can hire you back. That's totally fine. And so they started me on overnights again. They told me I could switch within 2 months. And I was like, okay, I can do that. 2 months rolls around, and they tell me, oh no, you're supposed to wait 6 months before you can switch. And I told them, I was like, I can't do overnights. If I have to stay on overnights, just have me work 4 days a week. And they're like, okay, yeah, we can do that. And then they're like, it's gonna take a couple weeks to fix that. And I said, fine, that's okay. But I haven't been sleeping. I literally couldn't sleep during the day, and I couldn't sleep at night because I had to go to work. And so they fixed my schedule. Everything was great. And then it was almost the day of me having an extra day off. And good thing I checked my schedule, because I did. And they made it so that I was working that night. So they're like, I went in, and they were like, well, you were hired as full-time, so we're not gonna let you do that. I was like, I was hired as part-time. So eventually I was like, fine, I'm gonna stop going to work. I'll call out. I don't care. I'm not sleeping. I had to go to the doctors, get on sleeping pills, and my sleep schedule is still messed up from them. And so, sorry, it was such a process. So they call me because they were gonna move Dakota, my fiance, into the frozen area, and they needed somebody to take his place in maintenance on days. And they were like, can you do this? And I was like, yeah, fine. I had 2 jobs lined up. This is an important thing. I had 2 jobs lined up for me to have to work. And so I go, and we're on our break. We're holding hands, watching videos. We're not kissing or anything. Our heads are like right here. And we got called in the office, and they were like, oh, you're not allowed to kiss or do anything, not hold hands, nowhere in our vicinity. Not even if you're off the clock. And I was like, I don't think that's right, but okay, whatever, we need the job, we need to pay rent. And so, this is so frustrating. We stopped doing that, and there's other couples there. Ones that work in the same department. And mind you, I was working maintenance, so I had to go all over the store. And one time, I found some ants, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna go ask Nakota, because I'm the only maintenance on, even though there's nobody. I've not been trained. This is like my 3rd week being on maintenance. Nobody trained me. They're like, they showed me how to do the bathrooms once, and they're like, okay, now you know how to do everything. And so, I went to go to talk to Nakota about where we keep the ant poisoning. And this bitch, sorry for the language, but that's all she really is. I think she's a co-manager. She's not even higher up than me. She's like higher up by 2 points. And she comes over and starts screaming at me, saying that I've been taking extra breaks, that I'm always over here talking to Nakota, and that I don't know how to do my job. And so I told her, I was like, well, there's ants, I need to know how to clean up. And she's like, you're maintenance, you should already know how to do that. I look at her and I was like, excuse me, why are you yelling at me? You cannot do this. And you guys don't know me very well, but I don't take crap from anyone, because that's who I am. I don't see why I should be yelled at for stuff that's not my fault. And she goes, there's no ants in this building. And I was like, yeah, there is. And she kept yelling at me, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. This is exactly what I said. I said, fuck it. Let the ants eat the goddamn building. I don't give a crap. And she muttered under her breath, not even to me, she muttered under her breath, like, you can't speak to me that way. Like, just talk to me. Say it to my face. And she looks at Nakota and she goes, oh, I'm sorry that I had to yell it. And he's like, whatever. I'm just trying to help. And so he kind of like drops something on the cart and walks away. Probably not like the best way to handle this situation, but when you have somebody screaming at you in the middle of Walmart, what are you going to do? There's people walking around. I should not be talked to like this. And so I am like, I'm not going to do anything the rest of the night. It's bad on me, but I was upset. And so this other lady, I don't cry when I'm sad. I do sometimes, but I was so angry. So when I'm angry, I cry. It happens to a lot of people. It's not just me. So, she's like, what's your problem? So I start bawling, and I'm like, I hate this place. I'm going to leave. And she goes, no, you can't leave, because you're the only woman on the maintenance. We need you to clean the bathrooms. And she's like, oh, I'll go talk to him. And I was like, well, there's ants, so I don't care. And she goes, oh, well, I didn't know there was ants. And so it turns out I made this friend. I'll probably do a video with her. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe eventually. But she told me that the lady that I was talking to was the one who called, I almost said her name, the manager over to go yell at me. And it was her fault. And I was like, look, there's ants. There's nothing I can do about it. I've tried everything. The ants are still there. To this day, it's been a couple months, because Walmart's rules at that Walmart is just ridiculous. They don't care about their employees. They don't care about their anything. And so, yeah, that all happened. And then I ended up getting sick because I'm allergic to pork. And so it makes me really sick, and I can't move for a couple days because I'm throwing up or something. And So I call out for 3 days, and then I go back in, and they're like, we're gonna fire you. And I was like, why? And they're like, because you called out. You have no excuse to call out. I was like, I was literally having a food allergy. And they're like, oh, honey, that's called food poisoning, not an allergy. And I was like, I think I know what I'm allergic to. And they're like, oh, sure you do. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put in my 2 weeks. I cannot stand working here. I cannot stand being treated like this. And they're like, we're not going to accept your 2 weeks. And I was like, why? And they're like, you need to write down that you need to quit today due to your mental health. Like, don't get me wrong. I hated that place. I wanted to die every second I was in there. I have really bad depression, but I'm not going to do anything about it. I needed the job. And I was like, are you kidding me? You're not going to take my 2 weeks? And they're like, no. We don't allow it. We're not doing that. Sorry. We don't care. And then they're like, we'll come back and then in 2 hours and we'll take your note saying that you're leaving. And I was like, okay, why can't you just take that now? And they're like, we're busy. And I said, fine. So I went outside, stood for about an hour and a half because I'm not going to work if I'm just going to get technically fired because they won't take my 2 weeks. And so I go in, and I'm like an hour and a half later. I didn't want to wait 2 hours. And I was like, fine, more money for me. So I went in, and then I put in my thing, gave him my vest, and I walked out. Well, fast forward to a month later, we were trying to get on something for the government and whatever. And they're like, oh, we need your paychecks, your last paycheck. So I showed them, and they're like, when did you quit? So I told them the date, and then they didn't pay me for about a week and a half of what I was working. Yeah, I took a few days off, but even after that, they didn't pay me at all. So, like I said, this is nothing against Walmart. I love Walmart. I love going to Walmart. I shop there all the time. It's just this one certain Walmart is awful. Not to mention, I tried calling corporate about all of this, and it sent me to a deli department in another Walmart store. So there was nowhere I could complain. I couldn't afford a lawyer. So I was underpaid for a week and a half. And I'm sorry that this video is kind of not lit up right, but it's just so frustrating, and I'm so over it. I'm still angry. I've been at home for 2 months, a month and a half, and I'm still so upset. And, like, I shouldn't let it get to me that bad, but it does. It's just so frustrating when you work really hard and you go above and beyond for your work, and they treat you like crap. It's just so upsetting. And all of this is true. You can ask anybody from the Walmart. I'm not going to tell you where I live because safety reasons, but I'll even bring Dakota on, and he can tell you what happened, and I'll bring other friends, and my friends don't lie. Dakota doesn't lie. Dakota can't lie, so it's just so irritating because I worked so hard and I loved it at first. It's just upsetting. Anyway, so that was my video on why I left Walmart. I've got a bunch of stories from there, not mean, just weird ones that happened, and there was a couple ghosts that were there and they'd mess with the systems. So I'll tell you guys about that one later. And there's a whole bunch. I'll just make a whole what are those things called? Not channels, not seasons, but a whole line of videos of telling you all my Walmart stories, and I'll even bring guests on. So, yeah. So, yeah. Sorry, I just repeated myself. Like and subscribe, please. That would really mean a lot to me. And my name is Hannah, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Bye.